Hello, good evening, everyone. Right, thanks for joining us live yet again. Right, okay. So if you have been on social media recently, then chances are you would have heard of this series, this term Squid Game. Right, okay. So it's actually a Netflix series that has garnered quite a bit of attention. Okay, so throughout the show, we actually pick up some of these financial lessons which we will be highlighting today. So Ginny and myself, right, tonight we hope to summarize, these summarize the points and also share how we can actually apply these points to our investment strategy. Okay, so by the way, if you have not watched the series, okay, so can you still go through tonight class? Is okay, because you don't need to really understand the so-called the what's happening in the drama to actually understand what we are trying to say also. All right, so don't be disappointed if you have not watched the show. Right, okay. But for those who have not watched, just a quick warning also, because this presentation will contain some spoilers. Okay, so do not continue watching if you have not watched it and don't want to be spoiled. All right, okay. So basically just a little bit of background of the synopsis of the series. Okay, if you have not watched it, so basically there's a group of 456 participants, right? Who each of them actually have huge debt problems, and they are gathered at this unknown location to play a series of games. Okay, and but the scary part is if they lose the game, they will actually be killed. Okay, in a game, and the final the final people who can win all the games actually walk away with this 400 rather 50 no 45.6 billion won, okay, which is equivalent to US dollar 38 million. All right, okay. So I actually saw some of your live with us right now. Right, can you give us some reaction before we go on, so we know that you are here? Maybe just tap on the like button, or just type BSI in the comment box. So BSI stand for Binance SG Investor Group. Okay, so we know you are here lah. Right. Okay, thank you very much. All right. Okay, so first up, as usual, just a quick disclaimer. Do note that whatever discussed tonight will be meant for general information and as well as educational purpose only, because in any investment, it is imperative that you also do your own due diligence, your research, and consult a licensed financial advisor, like if you wish to. Right? Okay. Okay, so tonight's agenda. So, of course, the 5 learning points and actually how we can apply them to our investment strategies. Okay, so we will also be touching on one of the leverage strategy that you can use for your own trades, right? So, and not forgetting the coin pick of the week as well, right? So, this is what we will be going through tonight, right? Okay, so just a sneak peek, of the previous coin picks we have, right? So Polkadot was actually up 37.8% in just 17 days after we mentioned it. So we are still holding it, okay, of course, with some stop loss in place as well to protect our profit, because we are actually long-term bullish on Polkadot, right? So and Terra Luna, okay, is up 46%, okay, for this, or rather 47.6% in 5 days after we mentioned it, because there was a Columbus 5 upgrade in the protocol. Okay, so it was like days away when we first mentioned it. So it's a typical buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing. But that's not only that. Not only that, because we are also quite bullish on Terra Luna in the long term, because of that development and all of that. Okay, but well, we took profit because we saw a bearish diversion happening after like 7 days from the first time we mentioned, right? Okay, yeah. So with that, please stay till the end to find out what's the coin pick of the week, right? Okay, so with that, let me just pass the time over to Jin Yi, okay, to begin tonight's agenda, right? Okay, so Jin Yi, over to you. Let me put you in. Okay.
Hi everyone. Hi. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Leslie. If you can share my screen.
Oh, no, I didn't see. Oh, okay. It's right here.
All right. Thanks. So everyone, I believe some of you, if not all, have already watched the Squid Game. So right, we are not being a spoiler here. We are just teaching a little bit of what we learned from the Squid Game. So we'll try our best not to share a lot of details inside the Squid Game series if you guys haven't watched it. But I believe you guys will learn a thing or two before after this event lah. So before I start, right, can everyone just type in Squid Game, right? Just type in the chat below Squid Game, so that I know that you guys are here. I can call you out if you guys have any question also, right? So without further ado, let me just share my screen, right? So today we will share to you 5 investing financial learning that we have learned through the Squid Game. Number 1 is mindset of investing. If you look into this photo, right? So this guy is called Gi Hoon. I believe I hope I pronounce his name correctly. If I pronounce his name wrongly, please forgive me, right? Yeah. So if you look at him, right, he's now holding the piece of paper over here. Please tell me in the chat below what is he doing? Yeah. So he's actually a gambler. At the start of the series, he's actually a gambler, right? So he has a very bad gambling debt, right? He has he has a huge debt in because of gambling attitude, gambling addict. He's an addiction already, right? So he also stole money from his mother to gamble, to actually gamble and then to earn more money and then to live lah. But obviously when you are gambling, normally you will be losing, right? So then what I learned from this one, right, is about the mindset of investing, right? The mindset of investing. For us, when we are investing, we shouldn't be doing a hearsay. Oh, my friends say buy this. Just like your friend telling you to buy this horse, buy this number, right? 4D number to win a Toto or something like that, right? So our mindset should be right when we are investing. The reason for us to invest, right, is to hedge against the inflation, to actually preserve our wealth, to actually grow our wealth, to make money work for us, right? So the mindset is so important. We shouldn't have the mindset of gambling mindset, right? So over here, I have 3 parts of the of of to construct a portfolio, right? To actually start investing. We have a method, we have money management, we have also mindset over here. To me, method can be learned, can be taught. I can teach you about method, like how do you click buy, how do you click sell, how do you use different strategy like option strategy or futures or leveraging. But these are just method I can teach you, right? Then money management, I can also teach you saying that, oh, we can actually put a maximum of 10% into a stock, no more than that, so that we don't expose ourselves too much. But then the mindset, right, is something it should be the fundamental thing that we actually need before we actually start investing. Without the fundamental mindset, right, we cannot go very far in terms of investing, because when we see other people telling us that they are earning 100% in crypto, 100% buying BTC, 100% buying, let's say, Apple stock, then you will be sway away. You won't be having. You'll be like, oh, I also want to be like them. But then with the correct mindset would be, oh, I can also be like them if I have done my homework earlier. If I just found this undervalued stock or crypto, then I can make as much money as that. So what I will first do is, why are they earning so much money? What is their company so good about it? Like, so you just research about it. You do more about long-term thinking. So right, we need to have long-term approach. We need to learn about fundamental strong stock, crypto, or even properties. For example, properties. If you are buying a house, you want to be highly sought after property in a more convenient area, right? Like maybe you are in Singapore, you can have like MRT right nearby of your property. Then of course your property will be having a store of value, right? Even if it increase, you will have store of valuation over there, right? So that's just part of the mindset, right? Second, the second financial learning that I've learned through is this guy, right? His name in the game is called Sang Woo, right? His name is called Sang Woo, right? So over here, he actually said that do not put all eggs in one basket. If for those who actually watch this game, right, please tell us in the chat below, right, what is this game? What is the game that he actually told the team not to put everything in one basket? Yeah. Okay, I spill a little bit for you guys now. This is actually the candy game, right? The candy game in the Squid game. Sangwoo actually told them to choose different shape of the candy, because different shape might be easier to actually solve it compared to just play the same game and everyone either win it together or lose it together. So as a team, we similarly to our portfolio, right? We do not want to put all our portfolio, all our funds into one stock or one crypto only, or even one property. It'll be too risky, and you don't have room for error. No matter how convicted you are into one stock or anything, right? You should not put it into all in. You cannot all in into one stock, right? You should actually diversify it or put it in tranches to actually go in, right? So then again, right, Warren Buffett also said that diversification may preserve wealth, right? Means that you diversify your portfolio, like you having 10% here, 5% there, 5% other place, total 100%, you might have like 20 to 30 stocks. But then diversification might actually preserve wealth, but concentration builds wealth. So you might be thinking this guy is contradicting himself, man, right? He is contradicting himself. He just said that do not put everything in one basket. But yeah, to me, concentration does build wealth. You know why? Because we can research our stock or crypto, right, in a deeper understanding, have more conviction, and then we should put them into a bigger chunk of money, a bigger chunk of the portfolio. But I'm not saying we put everything 100% into one stock. Imagine that stock just fail on you, or for whatever reason, um, then it fails, right? You will lose all of your money. But then if you have done a lot of work and you have conviction into that stock, you might do 20% or like 20 to 25% for one stock. So if you might be asking me, so how many stocks is enough like in your portfolio? To me, if I would do a lot of work before I even start investing. So I will pick and choose. I will here say like, oh, people say, oh, buy this stock. I'll do some research about it and then understand about why do they buy this, and then I'll go in quite with a bigger volume, so they can feel the growth whenever the stock actually grow, right? So to me, it'll be like 5 to 6 stocks, maximum of 10 stocks into my portfolio, 10 stocks or crypto into my portfolio. That will be a very comfortable, because 20 to 30 stocks, I can hardly manage it. I will just buy and then forget about it. And then when it dropped, then I was like, hey, what happened? And then you'll see like, oh, actually their previous few quarters has been very bad. So yeah, so that's just a short brief of it. To me, 6 to 10 stocks will be good enough. Right, next, right. So the third financial learning that I've learned, right, is the importance of having insurance, right? This lady over here, this auntie over here is actually Ji Hoon's mother. So right, during the show, right, I like spill another spoiler. So the mother actually wasn't very well. She was having a like very late stage diabetes already, but then she doesn't have the money to actually go for treatment. So of course, because they don't have enough money, and then of course her health went south lah. So it went from bad to worse already. So the main learning from here, right, is because that they don't have insurance. You might be having a lot of friends calling you, or some agents calling you from now and then, saying that, oh, I'm from where insurance agency, and I would like to have a chat with you to understand what do you have, and how do I preserve your wealth. You should actually thank them for giving you the call and try to understand where are they coming from. To me, I don't think insurance is something to grow your wealth, but to me, insurance is something that it can actually protect you whenever there is some emergency. We buy insurance for emergency. Similarly to this case, when the mother has an emergency, it can come very handy, right? Yeah. So that is my learning from all the three learnings I have. and then I will hand over to Leslie to actually tell you two more financial learning that we learned from Squid Game. So Leslie, over to you.
All right. Thank you, Ginny. Okay, very interesting, and some spoiler, of course, right? Okay, so I hope those watching have already watched it. Okay, but if not, I think it's fine. Okay, so there are so many things to learn, in this drama alone. Right. Okay. So Ginny has already covered the first 3 points. Right. So I will do the other 2 points. Right. So the other points, point number four, is actually I feel that this thing that we can learn, this lesson that we can learn from Squid Games, actually greed can sometimes blur our vision. All right. Okay. So in this drama itself, right. Okay, so they will participate in this game that is, potentially, can kill them, right, if they lose the game, right? So by in the show, they actually were allowed to actually vote, you know, if the majority of the people, vote that they want to stop the game, they actually allow them to leave. Okay, but of course you will not be able to continue the game and potentially, of course, win the amount of money that is right here, which is 38 million US dollar. Okay, of course in Korean won. Right. Okay. So upon seeing this, people actually sway. They feel that, hey, maybe I should stay because there's so much money to be won. Okay, but can you imagine that is actually a life at stake. Okay, and people actually get swayed, because of money, because of greed, right? So of course, in our daily life, I would say that it's not so. I would say it's a life and death matter. Okay, but let me show you something, and then correct me if I'm wrong. That this is actually something very familiar to us. Okay, where we actually do trading and investing, right? Okay, so what happens is that when we enter into a position, that means we start buying a crypto, start buying a stock. Okay, for example, you're lucky enough to actually catch something that's right here. Okay, and then it starts to go up, so you are very happy. And when you reach this point, it's actually 100% returns. All right, so I believe most people will feel happy about it. Okay, 100% returns. Okay, but it starts to come down. Okay, it starts to come down, and then you are actually left with 50% returns. Okay, if you think about it, in a normal circumstance, actually this 50% return is still quite fantastic. Okay, but because you saw 100% returns, okay, then at this moment you will feel not good about it. Say, hey, I could have made so much more. Okay, but sometimes greed can blur our vision. Is because maybe you have a system, but you refuse to believe it. Because typically when you see a higher high means an uptrend, or this is already a lower, or rather a higher low. Higher low is a lower low. So it's obviously it's going to a downtrend already, right? Okay, but because of greed, you say, never mind. I just wait a bit more for it to go up. All right. Okay, and sometimes indeed it go up. Okay, you think that oh, I'm still somewhere, just a little bit more, I can make back what I have made previously already. Okay, but you know things don't always don't go our way, right? Then this happen. Okay, from 100% returns, or okay, 50%, not too bad. If you have exited here, never mind, we can start all over again, but you still make a 50% returns, in actually less than 3 months. Okay, but sometimes if greed blur our vision, sway our decision, right, this could happen. Right, I believe this is not uncommon. This feeling. If you agree with me, can you type in tap the angry button this time? Okay, tap the angry button. Okay, because you're angry and this kind of thing. Then you always feel that, hey, wow, I'm not cut out for investing. The market is always going against me. Okay, sometimes it's not. Right, it's just that we have to follow the system, or strategy strictly sometimes, right? Okay, so how to actually avoid these, okay, is actually number one, of course, follow your strategy, your trading rules strictly. Okay, don't be blurred by don't get your vision blurred by greed, right, or things like that, right? So what is that? It could be a strategy you follow. Maybe you are a technical analysis person, you think that going going uptrend, then I should buy. When going downtrend, I should sell. Okay, follow your system strictly. Or you are someone who actually has a target profit. Okay, when it reach 50%, you are someone who, okay, whenever I reach 50%, I would sell. Something like that. Okay, it's not fixed. Okay, but you may have your own. You must follow it strictly. Okay, and not because of hey, maybe can go 60, maybe can go 70. Then you are not actually following your own system, your own strategy strictly. Right. Okay. So that's number one. All right. So of course you can apply risk management measure, right? So by things like stop loss and all that, so to actually protect your profit. Okay. So what do I mean by that? If you go back here, if you have set a stop loss maybe here, so you let the system decide when to get out. Okay, maybe you still get a 70% right here. Okay, somewhere along that line. Okay, so you need to have your this management, risk management in place as well. Right. Okay, so that's point number 4. Right. And point number 5. Okay, so in the drama, okay, so Sang Woo actually confessed to this Ji Woon, right? That he rather this guy 218 guy, confessed to this this guy right here 001, but that's not his number, but never mind. Okay, so that he actually has a huge debt due to investing in futures. Okay, so most of the time future are financial contract, that you are obligated to carry out the transaction at a predetermined price. Okay, so and it's often a leverage product as well. Okay, so he probably over leveraged and play or invested in this future and ended up with a huge debt. Okay, so over leveraging can actually wipe out our investment very very quickly. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, so using a leverage, right, you can magnify your potential gain. Okay, so this side, right, the left side is actually a typical investment method, right? We invest $4,000, then means the trade size is $4,000. Very straightforward. Okay, 1:1. Okay, if it goes up by 2.5%, I make $100. Right, in a leverage scenario, right, you only need to put $400. Okay, and a 10x leverage. But your trade size will be 10x. For you. And then when it goes up by 2.5%, it actually 10x as well. Okay, and your profit is also $100. Right. So looking at this, it's like, wow, so fantastic. I'm actually putting in lesser amount, right? Yet I can, make the same or even more. Right. So of course, people tend to, go back to point number 4. So the greed can also blind your, your decision making, right? Okay, so if you don't understand this, let me just explain this again, right? So, example, leverage using future, right? So again, it's a typical so-called trading, right? In a spot trading in crypto. So if you put in $100 and the price goes up 10%, you make a $10 profit, right? So, but if you if you use a 10x leverage, what will happen? A $10 profit will actually turn into $100. Okay, why? Because it is times x. Is 10x. Okay, times 10 times, right? Okay, basically everything here times 10. Okay, make sense? Right. So your $10 will turn into $100 profit. Okay, then you think, hey, you're so fantastic, right? Okay, so again, that is a danger as well, because a $10 loss will also become a $100 loss, right? Because it is 10x both ways, right? It's not only going up, then you earn 10 times. Going down, you also lose 10 times, right? So that is what could have happened to the character in the drama, right? And then ended up he has a huge debt. Okay, because essentially, okay, if you put in $100, right, you can only lose the money that you have. Okay, does that make sense? Because if I only have 100,000, at most I lose 100,000. I will not go into debt. I will have $0 left. Okay, but if you have 100,000 and you 10x, that's 1 million. So you could go into a 900,000 debt, right? Okay, so of course there's some protection mechanism and all that, but logically, it could happen. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And how can we avoid this? Of course, number one, put in only the amount of money you are willing to lose when doing any investment, right? I hope that makes sense, right? Okay, now of course, do not over leverage. Okay, then, of course, this is very straightforward, and of course, another one is you need to have a strategy to decide your leverage. Does that make sense? Because I cannot just whack, wow, 10 times I make 10, then why not put 100x? Okay, there's future contract that give you 100 times, right? These returns, right? But again, your loss also multiply by 100, right? Okay. So we actually have a strategy to decide how much leverage I should use, okay, when doing a leverage trade. Okay, that is if you want to, okay, if you want to, right? So you cannot use your feeling, no, like, hey, well, today I feel damn good, no, okay lah, 10x. Okay, today, no, not so much, 3x. Okay, no, we actually don't do that. Okay, so you need to determine a few things. Okay, number one is that assuming this is the current price, right? Okay, so what I'll do is I will find the last swing low. Okay, what's the last swing low? Price always goes like that, right? Okay, so typically this one will be considered last swing low, the last swing low, the last swing low, right? Okay, because it swing down and then go up, right? So if you base on this example, I'll say it's somewhere here. Okay, then I will actually do a -2% from the last swing low. Okay, then I find the difference. Okay, for example, this one will be 17% for the current price. Okay, so I would do this. Okay, I will use 100% divided by 17, and then I get this number. Okay, 5.88. So I can actually do a leverage of 5 times. Okay, why is that so? My logic is, if it goes below the last swing low, likely it's going to go down further. Okay, because typically we want to see a higher high, right, and a higher low, right? So if it goes below last swing low, it means that it's going to start having a lower low. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, of course, it's not 100%. It's always like that, but generally, right? So I don't want to take my risk as well, right? So if but this is assuming you follow the advices on the previous slide. So put in only the money you're willing to lose. For example, my position sizing tell me that I'm willing to lose $500. Okay, $500. So I will only put $500 in this trade. So if I lose the whole $500. Okay, make sense? I lose the whole $500 if it hit my this stop loss position, which is the last -2% from the last swing low. Right? Okay. So this is one way to actually decide your leverage amount. Okay, not your feeling, or or I feel good today. I think it's going to go up. Or I have a good dream last night. Tell me that I'm going to win. Okay, no, not like that. Okay, so you need to have a proper system to do it. Okay, so I hope you learned something. So if you have, again, give us some reaction. Maybe this time the love button. Okay, so even if you tap once before, you can tap many times on. Okay, so don't be shy about it, right? Because in a Facebook live you can tap many times. All right. Okay. Yeah. So this is actually my other 2 points. So total 5 learning points we have in this Squid game. Right. Okay. So finally, of course, not forgetting the coin pick of the week. Right. Okay. So H bar is actually the ticker symbol. So it's actually the Hidara hash graph. Okay, so I'm not sure if anyone heard of this H bar before. Okay, but in fact, it's actually a fast growing blockchain project that it has been, I would say, very popular with enterprise clients, okay, rather than the retail investor. Okay, so some of the top companies that actually using this H bar, right, okay, are actually Google, okay, and IBM, and many other companies, in fact. Okay, so it is the difference between this and other blockchain, right, is actually is highly reliable, fast, and also relatively cheap. Okay, so just give you a put in perspective, right? Okay, Ethereum can process about 20 transactions per second. Okay, 20, Okay, H bar can process about 10,000 transactions per second. Okay, so you have to put that in perspective. Of course, Ethereum is like the first generation, of this, blockchain kind of thing, or maybe second generation if you really want to argue. Okay, the first being Bitcoin, right? So H bar is actually like maybe you can say it's a third generation. Of course, improvement has to be made. Okay, so and the biggest announcement, why we chose this coin this week, right, is actually because they are also they just announced that they will start supporting, okay, this USD coin, okay, the USDC stable coin, right? Okay, so the news just came out and no movement yet, but it's a typical, buy the rumor, sell the news kind of coin pick as well as. But of course, we don't always just look at rumor and then hope to speculate a coin. No, okay, but we also look at the project, which I think that if Google, IBM chose, H bar instead of any other project, then that tell you something about it, right? Okay, so this is something that I'm looking at. We are looking at our community as well. So okay, but to be frank, I think I forget to mention. Okay, to be frank, I feel that the crypto market, okay, is going to come down in the next 1 2 weeks. Okay, in the next 1 2 weeks, but we promise a coin pick of it. I have to tell you one, correct? Okay, so you need to exercise your risk management as well. Okay, so let me just show you the chart as well very quickly. Hold on, let me just share. Hold on, let me move it around so I can show your stop share. All right, okay, so this is H bar, right? Okay, hold on, let me just close those that I don't really need. Okay, so in my opinion, it has not really taken off much yet. Okay, so as of now, the USDC news just came out, so maybe we can take advantage of it, and it's also quite nicely on the 50 moving average, right? So if we see it breaks above the 20, then I think we could really see something as well. Okay, so of course, don't, I would say don't be fooled by this one. I know it seems so scary, but I would say it's, what comes up so high to come down. But if you look at it, generally, it's still on a long-term uptrend. Okay, so if you are a, pattern person, right? Okay, so I would say it's also like a ascending triangle, not 100%, but somewhat there, right? Okay, so if it break off from here, then maybe we can see something as well, right? And maybe a lower, higher low already. Okay, so hopefully if we create a higher high, from here, then it should goes up, right? And of course, with the news and all that. All right, so this is the technical analysis part, right, of H bar. Right, again, of course, I would put my stop loss somewhere here. Okay, I will say the last, I'm a little bit more kiasu one. Okay, I'll put the second last swing low. Okay, then I put my stop loss here. Okay, so if is that okay with you, you must calculate. If it drop below here and I'm being stopped out, is that okay with you, right? So this is what you need to consider also when, if you want to invest in the coin pick. Okay, don't just because, we say, then, you just go in like this, right? Okay. Okay, so let me just unshare this one and go back to my slide. All right, okay, so H bar, something to look at, not only now, but I think long-term wise as well. Give me a second, yeah. Okay, so with that, again, please help us to like, and share, right? If you find this session valuable, so potentially more people can benefit as well from the sharing, right? So thanks for being here tonight. And we to end off, right? So actually, we would like to extend an invitation to you. All right. So I think if you are in our Facebook group, you probably seen this already. But if you have not, no, this is actually a party, okay, that we are having this Saturday. Okay, so 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Okay, so I believe most of you already know that Binance is going to be so-called not really ban, but they are restricting, this Singapore user, all right, to continue using Binance. Okay, so instead of panicking, so we are having an event to actually embrace it. Okay, not only embrace it, but we want to share with everyone what is actually the next steps that we are going to do. What exchange are we going to move to? What are the other uh, you know things that we should be prepared in future if similar things like this happen again, right? Okay, so if you are keen to join us, please join us. I think later we'll paste the registration in the comment box, so you can click. Okay, so if not, it's actually right here. Okay, so just a few highlights of the event. So we in fact have an NFT workshop. So if you are actually someone who has also been, rather you have been curious about NFT, hey, what exactly is NFT? So we actually have a workshop where we explain what exactly is NFT, and also we are going to have a workshop where you can actually create the art from scratch, okay, and then actually put it up on this NFT platform for you to actually sell as a digital art. Okay, so it'll be pretty fun, okay, in my opinion. And we will be having a mini competition. Okay, so then you can actually win some Ethereum if you win the NFT competition, right? Okay, so of course we have more crypto strategies, and more in depth, I would say more in depth than tonight, because tonight we can only say so much in like 30 minutes sharing, right? Okay, yeah. So not only that, we also have other strategy, on stocks and option as well, because I think this is also part of uh, getting ready and risk management as well, and not putting your eggs in one basket, right? Okay, so it's good to also learn about other strategy, other instrument strategy, and as well as actually some of these strategy can also be used in cryptocurrency as well. Right. Okay. So and we also have a new name contest for you to actually win. 199 worth of Bitcoin. Okay, as you know, for those of you watching right now, our group name is called binance.sg Investor. So with the Binance ban, potentially we are thinking to change our Facebook name. So we want you to chip in some ideas. Right. So just by chipping in some ideas, the winner will choose one, the best name that we think can represent the group. Just a few tips, for you, for those watching. The name, you can suggest something that's related to crypto or investing in general. Don't have to, just be crypto. Right. Okay. So I hope I give you some tips on what to suggest for the name. Right. Okay. So of course we have guests from OKX, which is our official partner, right, in actually this providing this discount in the trading fee in this OKX. So he will also be here to explain how to have a walkthrough in the exchange and how to use the exchange, the other feature in the exchange. They even have actually a trading bot in the exchange itself. So it's really interesting. Okay, so at the same time, he will also show just a demonstration, because some people may be concerned, hey, how do I transfer my funds from Binance to other exchanges? Okay, so you will do a demo, so you will feel more confident, to transfer your fund. All right. So don't worry, because 26 is actually the actual ban. So if on the 23rd you learned, you still have 3 more days to transfer your fund. Okay, so it's not too late. Right. Okay, I think Jenny has already put the link up. Right. So if you want to join us there this Saturday, so please feel free to sign up. Okay. So by the way, we also have other prizes. Smaller prizes. From cash money to other courses that you can actually attend for free. Okay, if you win the prize. Right. Okay. So with that, that's the end of my session. So Ginny, do you have anything else to add on or to say to our, our audience tonight? Ginny, are you there?
Yeah, there's one thing. To the moon. Can you hear me?
Yes,
No,
yes,
there's
we
only
can.
one thing I want to say. Like, just tell them to the moon.
Yeah, we heard that. Okay, so yes, okay, so of course, of course, to the moon, right? So with that, we will end this session. Okay, then we will see you in our next Facebook live. Right. Okay. See you. Good night, everyone. Bye bye.